Hi, I'm Chef Owen Tilley. I'd like to welcome you to this week's edition of Ask the Chef. This week's question comes from Jamie, one of our Facebook fans. And Jamie asked, what cuts of fish are available out in the market? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I'm going to walk you through the most common and one that's pretty uncommon, and I want to talk about that one first. Now, I'm using salmon as an example, but it pretty much translates across all fish. Now, first is a cutlet. Now, I'm sure you've heard of chicken cutlets and veal cutlets. Well, as it pertains to fish, it's the same thing. It's a thin, wide piece of fish. And we get this from the tail portion. Now, as you can see, it tapers down to where the tail ends, and it's nice and thin, cooks up quickly, great for pan frying or breading. And in another video on the blog, I've shown you how to take the tail portion and wrap it around stuffing to make a stuffed salmon offering. Now, the next cut is the fillet. Now, this is the most common cut used, most common cut used in restaurants because it's 100% meat, it's nice and it's thick, and everyone can identify this piece. Now, when you're buying it on your own, be careful because along the edge here are thin, tiny bones that we call pin bones. And they will cause you to choke if you have them in there, but don't worry. All you have to do is ask the guy behind the counter and they can remove the pin bones for you so you don't even have to worry about it. Now, last is the steak cut. This is one of my favorites because it's nice and thick. On a salmon, this is what it'll look like. Now imagine a whole salmon, and it just cuts right across the body as such. And we leave the skin on the steak cuts, and that's to hold the meat together. Now, steaks work great for grilling, and they hold up to braising as well. And I've also included a piece of tuna. Just like the salmon, the tuna steak comes from a cross cut. If you can imagine a giant tuna, this cut right across the middle, nice and thick, and it's great for grilling. Swordfish looks like that as well. So now that I've given you the crash course on the different cuts of fish, you can talk intelligently to the guy behind the counter, excuse me. And remember to come back to our blog and let us know what you think in the various cuts that you've tried yourself. I'd like to thank you for tuning in this week, and I want to invite you to come back next week. And remember, you keep asking, I'll keep cooking.